Hi everyone. Leg strength is very important to maintain. Quadriceps leg strength to be able to stay at a D3 initial dementia facility. Quadriceps leg strength is needed for sitting to standing from the chair, sitting to standing from the toilet, and getting on and off the bed. These three transfers are essential and required to be able to stay at a dementia facility. And so it's very important to keep these upper thigh quadriceps strength going so that these dementia residents can continue to do these transfers. So exercise classes, walking outside, and steps and stairs help with being able to keep quadriceps leg strength going. But there's also a specific exercise, sitting to standing. Repeating that from the chair is a good exercise for keeping that strength going. So just to give some specific examples of how quadriceps leg strength is so vital and how it can be maintained. Now, most relatives pretty much rely on the exercise classes at the unit to be able to keep the leg strength going, because there's a lot of quadriceps exercises in the classes, you know, sitting in the chair, lifting the foot up, and then bringing it down, lifting it up, tightening the muscles in the thigh, sitting to standing sometimes. But there are some relatives that are good at taking residents out for a walk. Not as many as we'd like, I'd have to say. Of course, that's the big thing with dementia units. People don't get out for the walks as much as what anybody would like, really. It's always a big thing somehow, getting residents out for walks with their relatives. It just really doesn't happen enough. But there was one example of a husband. He was a very dedicated, lovely man, a school teacher, and his wife had dementia, and they'd always walked a lot. You know, this helps too. If there's been a history of the pair, of the partners, husband and wife, walking, you know, especially, you know, that they used to walk, well, every weekend, Port Hills. They'd go away on holidays to the tramping track, South Island, Fiordland tracks. They went to the beach often, walking along there, and there's lots of hills and tracks, walking tracks in New Zealand, so they were very outdoorsy people. Walking was a very big part of their life, and their holidays with their family, they'd take the kids walking on walking trips as well. So if there's that discipline in place or that hobby in place, then it's a lot easier to keep that habit going when and if one of the partners goes into the dementia facility. So in this case, the husband did keep this routine going on a daily basis. Incredible effort for years, because this woman was she was in the unit for a good 5 years, and he'd come every day. Every single day. He lived at the village, so it was a 400-metre walk or something, but still it was a big effort. She was quite mobile initially, but she became more immobile as time went on, and it was because of those walks and him taking her out daily that she managed to keep her mobility for such a long time. And also for the first 3 years, he'd take her up and down the stairs, walking up and down the stairs every day. I'd go out actually for morning or afternoon tea or at lunchtime, and there he'd be taking her up and down the stairs. She'd just hold on to the rail, and then he'd just take her up 1 or 2 times. And so her quadriceps strength, her leg strength was maintained. So she was able to stay at the unit, which is much better than going to a hospital, you know, where everyone's sick and ill. And she was happy as a result of that. She initially joined in the workshops that I took, and she had aphasia, difficulty getting the words out, and they're sort of jumbled and didn't always make sense. I could generally make out what she was saying initially for the first couple of years, but then she deteriorated in speech. But she'd sometimes come and sit but wouldn't contribute as much. And then towards the end, she just sat in the back rows. But because her husband came every day, he was her friend, her confidant, loyal, faithful husband, and all that love and kindness and compassion that he had, it was enough to sustain her, really. You know, she didn't have an extra friend at the unit, but with him coming daily and with the walks daily still, that was enough. That was enough for her. She didn't get depressed or angry, and she was in a settled mode, and that wonderful husband, it was because of him she was able to maintain that quality of life with the walks, I have to say. Very important part of it. There was another lady whose sister was regularly used to come and take her twice a week for walks, which was good, and her husband came and took her for walks. She was also a tramper and a walker. The whole family was into tramping. She had big photos on her wall of, you know, the Heafy track and Fiordland in the South Island and the Alps, places she'd walked. So they were two examples of women that had been walkers and their family continuing that exercise with them. But other than that, not many families used to take people out for walks for various reasons. But if at all possible, it really does help, you know, for leg strength, for mobility, for balance. Balance being a very important part, by the way, because you need good balance in a dementia unit. You seriously do, because, you know, there's a lot of there can be a number of angry people in dementia facilities, and when they get fired up, they can lash out. And if you're in the, you know, pathway of someone lashing out, and you can easily get pushed over. People do, like, quite regularly. And unless you've got the balance reactions to sort of prevent yourself from falling, unfortunately, you can fall, and people do get fractured hips at dementia units sometimes, not often, but there's lots of falls, but not, sometimes there are fractured hips as a result of these falls, which is, you know, terrible. So the more balance and the more strength and the more flexibility and more ability you have in your walking, then you'll have more confidence to be able to live in such a place. You know, I mean, even just walking from the lounge to the bedroom can be quite a dire sort of an exercise. You're never quite sure who's going to leap out, or not leap out at you, but anyone can get aggressive at any time unexpectedly, and you know, you can be in the firing line. And every dementia resident has experienced that at some point, if they've lived there for more than a month. So that's why it's important to be able to give your parent the maximum chance in terms of, you know, all these abilities and skills with flexibility and strength and balance to be able to manage their walking, to be able to live in such an environment, and hopefully have the confidence to live in such an environment. You do need confidence, self-confidence, living in a dementia unit to, you know, weather the battle, so to speak. Gosh, these people are very brave, I have to say. It's not easy. Gosh, sometimes they used to make me nervous, one or two, these angry people. It's not easy. But still, a lot of elderly women are quite strong as well, I have to say, and can stand up to these aggressors, which is incredible. You know, if they've had 5 fiery sons themselves, they've got that confidence and strength to stand up to them. And they do, which was a marvel, I thought, when I witnessed it. So I've written these 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. Now, these books are the pivotal point of the work. All the work is in these books. And the epilogues at the back is what these videos are about. They are the secondary component of the books. So really, if you're interested in all this work and following along, as I can see some of you are, if at all possible, if you are a reader, hopefully you are a reader, then the books are the way to be able to get the full information. You know, there's a lot to dementia. There's so much to learn, you know, so much to upskill on, especially if you're not a medical person. You know, if you're a medical person and you've done a nursing training or whatever, a lot of the information you already have. But if you're not a medical person, there's an enormous amount to upskill on. And so that's the purpose of this series of the 2 books and the videos. So thank you for your looks and your likes, and please pass on these links to people affected by dementia. Thank you.